Three men make a tiger is an ancient Chinese idiom story, and it describes a conversation between the king and the emperor. The emperor had to go away on business to a foreign country, so he was a bit concerned that his enemies at home might say something to the king to put him in bad favour. So he decided to sound the king out to see how gullible he was, to see how easily led he was. So he said to the king, "If a man came up to you and said there's a tiger loose in the street, what would you say?" Almost immediately the king said, "Well, I think he was an idiot because we never get tigers in our city, or extremely rarely anywhere." So then the emperor said, "So what if a second man said that there was a tiger loose in the street?" The king thought about it and he said, "Well, okay, so two men have now said that, there's a tiger loose in the street, so I would think about it. But again, it's extremely rare, and so I might think that they're fooling me. So what if a third man came up and said, 'Look, there's a tiger loose in the city, you need to do something about it,'" said the emperor. The king said, "Well, obviously then, because three different men have said the same thing, I would try and do something about it." "But just as an aside, what would you do?" said the emperor. So the king thought long and hard and he said, "Right, I would do three things. The first thing I would do, to keep people safe away from the tiger, I would issue a royal decree that people had to stay at home for as long as they could. The second measure I would bring in would be that if people had to leave the house, that they couldn't congregate in any more than 2 or 3 people at a time. So if the tiger did attack, then it would only affect a small group of people. And the third thing I would do, because tigers have very sensitive hearing, I would ask people if they were going out into the street to wear something over the faces, something over the mouths, so that the tiger couldn't hear their breath or couldn't hear their speech. Those 3 measures, I think, would keep people safe from a tiger." "Very good," said the emperor. "Thank you very much." And at that he bowed and went on his way. Now that brings me to the second part of my title of this video, which is to hide an elephant. Because if I was the king, I would want to know why he was asking me all of those questions. I would also say to the emperor, well, obviously I would need further evidence. I would need somebody to say, well, yes, that 6 people or whatever have been attacked, or a couple of people have died, at least something like that, some kind of concrete evidence. Now, you could transpose that all the way through the ages right up until the present day. When somebody is presenting you with a scenario without giving you any evidence, but they just expect you to act on that scenario, you act on their word, what that would say to me is that they've got something far bigger to hide, that there's something far worse behind this scenario that I've been described. And that to me is far more worrying than, we'll say, having a tiger running down the street. What is this person trying to hide? Well, we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? So if somebody comes up to you with a tale of a tiger being in the street and you have to stay indoors, if you do go outside, you have to wear something over your face so that the tiger doesn't get you. Ask them where the evidence is. And if they can't find any evidence, you have to ask yourself, why would they tell you that there's a tiger in the street? What have they got to hide? Thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you again. Bye-bye.